This restructuring means your department is being absorbed, effective immediately.
I understand the implications, Mr. Hawthorne. I'll be ready.
The words came like a whip from Mr. Hawthorne, the department supervisor, leaning against the cubicle wall. His voice was low, smooth, but edged with contempt. Maya froze mid-step, her fingers tightening around her laptop bag. She had expected impatience, maybe ignorance, but this was different. The subtle sneer, the way he paused before finishing his sentence, made it clear he didn't just doubt her skill. He doubted her worth. I'm here to finish the Thompson project, Maya said softly, keeping her voice steady. Finish? You! Don't make me laugh, Hawthorne snapped, his eyes narrowing. Honestly, I think we've made a mistake hiring someone uneducated. The words hit her like cold water. Heat surged in her chest, her stomach twisting, but she forced herself to breathe. Around them, co-workers glanced nervously, pretending to type, pretending not to watch. Maya's hand hovered over the laptop, and for a second, the office felt like a battlefield. The injustice of it all was suffocating, the silence of her peers ringing louder than any applause. Maybe you should step aside before you embarrass yourself further, he added, a malicious grin tugging at his lips. Maya swallowed. She knew this moment would define everything that came next. And just as Hawthorne turned to leave, the door swung open. Someone unexpected walked in, eyes sharp, presence commanding. And the office froze. Cliffhanger, who had arrived? What would happen next? Maya's chance to respond, or reclaim her dignity, was just beginning. Office cubicle floor, late morning. Fluorescent lights hum. Keyboard clicks punctuate the silence. Maya adjusted the strap of her bag and stepped into the open workspace. Every glance felt heavier than usual, every sound sharper. She tried to ignore it, focusing on the Thompson project on her laptop. Seriously, who hired you? The voice came like a whip. Mr. Hawthorne leaned against the cubicle, arms crossed. His eyes held that familiar smirk, the one that always said, "You don't belong here." Maya froze. Her stomach clenched. She could feel the invisible weight of the office pressing down on her. Co-workers' eyes flicked toward her, then away. Silence, louder than any applause. I'm here to finish the Thompson project, she said, voice even, but her fingers trembled slightly over the laptop keys. Finish? You? Hawthorne's laugh was sharp, condescending. Don't make me laugh. Honestly, I think we've made a mistake hiring someone uneducated. The words hit her chest like lead. Heat rose, stomach twisting. She swallowed, forcing herself to breathe. Maybe you should step aside before you embarrass yourself further, he added, stepping closer, a malicious grin tugging at his lips. Maya's fingers hovered over the laptop. She wanted to speak, to defend herself, but the words stuck. Around her, co-workers typed nervously, pretending not to watch. The air felt thick with judgment and silence. Hawthorne straightened, chest puffed slightly, eyes scanning the floor. He believed the room belonged to him. Maya's presence was a threat. Then, a door swung open. The office froze. Maya glanced up. Someone had entered. Tall, commanding, presence undeniable. A hush fell, broken only by the hum of the lights. Hawthorne's smirk faltered. Maya's heartbeat quickened, adrenaline sparking in her chest. This was the moment she had been waiting for, though she didn't know how it would play out. The newcomer's eyes scanned the room, lingering on Maya, then settling on Hawthorne. The room felt smaller, the tension denser. Every movement, every breath became amplified. Maya felt her hands unclench around the laptop bag. Her mind raced. Could this be the opportunity to finally reclaim her dignity? Could she finally make her supervisor realize the truth? Hawthorne cleared his throat, attempting to regain control. Welcome. Can I help you with something? His voice wavered ever so slightly, betraying his unease. The newcomer's gaze didn't leave Maya. I think you'll want to see this, they said, voice steady, confident, carrying weight. Maya felt a flicker of hope. The room held its collective breath. She could feel her heartbeat thundering, each beat echoing in her ears. The power dynamics were shifting, subtly, imperceptibly, but unmistakably. Hawthorne's eyes darted between Maya and the newcomer, unease creeping into his posture. He had never anticipated this. Never. Maya's chest rose and fell rapidly. She wasn't out of danger, far from it, but for the first time that day, she felt a spark of control. Let's get started, the newcomer added, and the office seemed to lean in, waiting for what would happen next. The tension was unbearable. Every second stretched longer. Hawthorne's confidence was cracking, and Maya knew that the slightest move could tip the balance. She met his gaze, eyes steady, lips pressed together. The world narrowed down to this single moment: confrontation, exposure, vindication, or disaster. Cliffhanger. The newcomer steps closer, placing a folder on the desk in front of Maya. Hawthorne glances at it, eyes widening. The air trembles with anticipation. What is in the folder? How will Hawthorne react? Maya's response is the pivot that will define everything. Office hallway, late morning. Fluorescent lights hum overhead. Tension is palpable. Maya held the folder tight, the weight of the unexpected arrival still pressing against her chest. Her fingers traced the edges, breathing shallow. Every step toward her desk felt like walking through a minefield. Hawthorne followed closely, his presence looming. "Don't think this little stunt will get you anywhere," he muttered under his breath, a threat barely concealed. Maya kept her head high, voice steady. "I'm just doing my job." "Your job? Really?" His tone dripped with condescension, the kind that makes colleagues glance away, pretending they aren't listening. "You have no idea how things work here." A co-worker passed by, eyes darting between them, whispering to another. Maya felt the weight of their stares, the silence pressing her down. Every glance from Hawthorne was a challenge, a test she hadn't asked for. In the break room later, Hawthorne cornered her. "You know, some of us have been here longer. We understand the culture," he said, leaning close. "You'll want to adapt. Otherwise, it could get uncomfortable." Maya's stomach twisted, but she didn't flinch. "I adapt by proving my work," she replied, keeping her voice calm. Inside, adrenaline sparked her nerves. Every word from him was a threat, every pause a challenge to her worth. He smirked. "Interesting. Just don't overstep. You might regret it." Walking back to her desk, Maya's mind raced. She thought of the folder the newcomer had left, documents outlining her credentials, evidence of her expertise. She felt a flicker of hope, but it was tempered by fear. The office was a minefield of bias, microaggressions, and silent judgment. Her colleague, Jenna, leaned over. "Are you okay?" Her voice was low, cautious. "He's dangerous when he gets like this." Maya nodded, lips tight. "I'm okay. I just need to focus." Later, as the day stretched, subtle threats appeared in other forms: emails with passive-aggressive comments, small tasks designed to humiliate, co-workers silently judging, refusing to help. Each interaction was a reminder of the hierarchy Hawthorne wielded effortlessly. Maya paused at the printer, noticing Hawthorne watching her from across the floor. The way he narrowed his eyes, the tilt of his head, the tightened jaw, he was waiting for her to falter. Every breath she took felt measured, calculated. She couldn't slip. Not now. In the meeting room, a minor mistake by another team member triggered Hawthorne's ire. His words were sharp, cutting down the employee. The fear in the room was palpable, a warning that Maya could not ignore. She realized then that his threats were not empty. They were rehearsed, deliberate, designed to assert control. Yet, beneath the pressure, a spark of defiance flickered. Maya reminded herself of her PhD, her experience, the meticulous work she had compiled. She would not be underestimated. But Hawthorne's threats were more than verbal. They were a demonstration of the institutional power he wielded daily. The day ended with a subtle, lingering tension. Hawthorne's gaze followed Maya as she packed her bag, the words unspoken but clear: "Watch your place." As she walked out into the cold evening air, Maya felt a mix of exhaustion, fear, and determination. Each step was a quiet rebellion. She knew the next day would bring another confrontation, another test of her resilience. Cliffhanger, a message pings on her phone. From an unknown number: "They are watching you. Be careful." Maya freezes, heart pounding. Who is watching? And what is Hawthorne planning next? Maya's apartment, late evening. The glow of a desk lamp illuminates spreadsheets, emails, and research notes. The apartment is quiet, save for the hum of her laptop. Maya opened the folder left by the newcomer earlier in the office. Her credentials, transcripts, awards, and detailed project plans spilled onto the desk. She ran her fingers over the neatly organized pages, heart pounding. This was proof, undeniable and meticulous. Finally, she whispered to herself. A small spark of relief, but also fear. If this evidence fell into the wrong hands, it could backfire. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jenna: "Be careful tomorrow. He's watching." "I mean it." Maya sighed. The office wasn't just a workplace, it was a battlefield, and she was navigating invisible mines. The next morning, Maya arrived early. The fluorescent lights flickered slightly, echoing the tension in the air. Hawthorne was already there, sipping coffee, eyes scanning the floor like a hawk. "Good morning, Maya," he said smoothly, voice sharp under the veneer of politeness. "I hope you've been keeping up." "I have," she replied evenly, opening her laptop. "I've reviewed the Thompson project and prepared a progress report for today's meeting." Hawthorne leaned over her desk, smirk twitching. "We'll see about that. Make sure it's thorough." His tone carried a subtle threat, implying consequences if she faltered. The meeting began. Colleagues glanced at her, eyes flicking toward Hawthorne, then back to their notes. Maya's pulse quickened. She opened her report, highlighting data, methodology, and previous results. Each slide, each line, each figure carefully demonstrated her expertise. Hawthorne's eyes narrowed. Impressive, for someone with so little experience," he muttered, voice dripping with thinly veiled disdain. Maya didn't flinch. "Experience is measured by results," she said, voice steady, eyes meeting his. "Here's the outcome of the Thompson project so far." The room shifted subtly. Whispers, nods from a few co-workers. Hawthorne's posture stiffened. This was the first crack in his armor. After the meeting, in the hallway, Hawthorne cornered her. "You think this proves something? Don't get ahead of yourself," he hissed, voice low, dangerous. "You're lucky I haven't reported you for overstepping." Maya's jaw tightened. "I'm not overstepping. I'm fulfilling my role." Her words were calm, but inside, adrenaline surged. Each interaction with him was a test of nerve, every sentence a negotiation with her own fear. Back at her desk, she meticulously compiled additional evidence, emails, past projects, her PhD credentials, and peer-reviewed publications. Each document was another layer of defense, another strike against the bias that threatened to undermine her. A co-worker leaned in quietly. "Maya, I didn't know you had all this." Their voice was a whisper, fear mingled with admiration. He really underestimated you." Maya nodded, keeping her expression neutral. "Underestimation can be powerful," she replied softly. "It can motivate you to prepare, to survive, to prove the truth." Later, Hawthorne passed by, eyes lingering on her laptop. A flash of recognition crossed his face, quickly replaced by his usual mask of superiority. He didn't speak, but the threat in his gaze was unmistakable. "I see you. Don't forget who controls this floor." Maya exhaled slowly, her hands hovering over the keyboard. She realized that evidence alone wasn't enough. Timing, strategy, and composure would determine whether justice could be served. Evening fell, and Maya reviewed her files one last time. The room was silent except for the hum of the desk lamp. She imagined the confrontation that would come next, the presentation, the reveal, the shift in power dynamics. Cliffhanger, a knock on her apartment door startles her. Standing there is a colleague from HR, expression urgent. "Maya, we need to talk. It's about Hawthorne." Her heart leaps. What has happened now? What new threat is emerging? Office conference room, mid-morning. The fluorescent lights hum, air tense with expectation. Hawthorne paced at the front of the room, fingers drumming on the table. "Maya, you'll lead the client pitch today," he said, voice sharp, almost cold. "I expect results, or failure." Maya felt her stomach tighten. It was an impossible task, limited data, a tight deadline, and an audience of skeptical executives. She swallowed, steadying her breath. "Understood," she replied calmly, masking the surge of fear. The room watched silently. Colleagues glanced at each other, whispers barely audible. Some clearly doubted her. Some admired her courage. "Don't embarrass yourself," Hawthorne added, voice low, meant only for her. The subtle threat was heavier than any direct insult. Maya opened her laptop, fingers flying across the keys. Every statistic, every chart, every bullet point had to be precise. She could feel Hawthorne's eyes on her, a predator observing every movement. Minutes before the presentation, Jenna leaned over. "Be careful," she whispered. "He'll try to trip you up." "I know," Maya replied, lips tight. Inside, adrenaline burned. She had prepared meticulously, yet the psychological pressure was almost suffocating. The meeting began. Executives filled the room, their expressions neutral but expectant. Hawthorne smirked, seated at the head of the table, clearly anticipating her stumble. "Let's begin," Maya said, voice steady, projecting confidence she didn't entirely feel. She clicked to her first slide, a detailed analysis of the Thompson project. Hawthorne interjected immediately. Maya, I don't think we need all this detail. Let's keep it simple. Maya met his gaze, unwavering. With all due respect, the details are what ensure accuracy. Clients deserve clarity, not shortcuts. The tension in the room spiked. Whispers circulated among the colleagues. Hawthorne's lips pressed thin, his jaw tightened. As the presentation progressed, he tried to undermine her subtly. Are you sure that's the right approach? He asked, a trace of mockery in his voice. I've handled projects like this for years. I'm confident in the data, Maya replied, calm, measured. The numbers speak for themselves. Her slides revealed trends, projected outcomes, and potential risks. Executives nodded, some jotting notes. Hawthorne's smug confidence faltered. His body posture stiffened, hands gripping the table. After the presentation, Hawthorne leaned toward her in the empty conference room. Not bad, for someone I doubted, he muttered, voice low but venomous. But don't think this changes anything. Maya's heart pounded. She felt the subtle victory in her chest, but she didn't let it show. I'm here to do my job, she said quietly, letting the words hang in the air like a shield. Later at her desk, she reviewed the meeting recordings. Hawthorne's attempts to undermine her were clear. Each manipulative comment, each pause designed to intimidate, had been documented. She added notes, highlighting every microaggression, every abuse of authority. Her phone buzzed. A message from the newcomer. You handled it well. Keep documenting. The time will come. Maya exhaled slowly. The support, even from afar, bolstered her resilience. By mid-afternoon, whispers of the presentation spread. Some co-workers were cautiously impressed, others openly skeptical. Hawthorne remained silent, brooding at his desk. The office felt different, electric, tense, like the calm before a storm. Maya sensed that this was just the beginning. Every meeting, every conversation, every glance from Hawthorne now carried heightened scrutiny. She realized that surviving this test required more than skill. It demanded strategy, patience, and emotional endurance. Even as the day ended, a lingering threat hung in the air. Hawthorne's eyes followed her as she packed her bag. We'll see about tomorrow, he muttered under his breath. The words weren't loud, but they resonated like a warning bell. Cliffhanger. That evening, Maya returned home to find her apartment door ajar. A stack of anonymous envelopes waited on her desk. Inside were copies of her own work, with threatening annotations. Someone knew about her preparations. Who had left them, and what were they planning next? Office conference room, mid-morning. A client presentation is underway. The room buzzes with anticipation, silent tension hanging thick. Hawthorne sat at the head of the table, smug confidence radiating. Maya, try not to confuse the clients with too much information, he muttered under his breath. Maya's fingers hovered over her laptop. She took a deep breath, feeling the adrenaline surge through her veins. Understood, she said softly, voice steady. Inside, her mind raced. This was her moment to turn the tables. As she began her presentation, she noticed subtle shifts in Hawthorne's demeanor. His jaw tightened, fingers tapping impatiently, eyes narrowing as she clicked through the slides. Notice here, Maya said, pointing to a complex chart, the projected outcomes for Q3. These adjustments optimize efficiency while minimizing risk. A client raised an eyebrow. Interesting. Can you explain the methodology? Maya's pulse quickened. She had anticipated this. Calmly, she detailed her process, referencing industry research and internal data. Her voice was measured, precise, and persuasive. Hawthorne's smirk faltered. Well, we usually do it differently, he said, trying to regain authority. Maya pressed on, showing comparative analysis, highlighting overlooked efficiencies. Each revelation subtly undermined Hawthorne's credibility. The room responded with nods, questions, and approval. Impressive, a senior client said, glancing at Hawthorne. I wasn't aware of these findings. Very thorough. Hawthorne's posture stiffened. His confident mask cracked. He tried to interject, but Maya anticipated each move, addressing potential objections before he could voice them. The air in the room shifted. Colleagues whispered, glancing between Maya and Hawthorne. The power dynamics were reversing before their eyes. After the presentation, Hawthorne leaned toward her in the hallway, voice low and tense. This isn't over, he hissed. You've crossed a line today. Maya's heart pounded, but she met his gaze steadily. I crossed no line. I did my job. The subtle crack in Hawthorne's armor was exhilarating, but dangerous. Maya knew he would retaliate, and soon. Every glance, every comment from him was now loaded with scrutiny and thinly veiled threats. Back at her desk, Maya documented the presentation. She noted Hawthorne's attempts to undermine her, the client's reactions, and the subtle shifts in office dynamics. Each entry reinforced her strategy. Evidence and preparation were her shields against bias and intimidation. Later, a coworker leaned over. "I couldn't believe he tried to correct you mid-presentation. You handled it perfectly." Maya smiled faintly, tension easing slightly. It wasn't about handling him. It was about showing the truth. As the day wore on, Hawthorne's unease became more visible. He hovered near desks, interjecting in minor discussions, scrutinizing work, attempting to regain control. Yet, each action only highlighted his insecurity. By late afternoon, Maya reviewed her files once more. Each document, each record, was a building block for the eventual reveal of her expertise. She was preparing for the moment when Hawthorne's underestimation would backfire completely. Cliffhanger, as she shut down her laptop, an email notification popped up, subject line, "Meeting with HR urgent." Maya's stomach twisted. Had Hawthorne escalated matters? Was this a trap or a turning point? She stared at the screen, heart pounding, knowing that the next confrontation would define everything. Office conference room, mid-morning. The room is filled with executives, clients, and employees. Tension hums like electricity. Maya stood at the front, laptop open. She felt every gaze on her, every expectation pressing down. Hawthorne sat stiffly at the head of the table, smirk barely concealing irritation. "Good morning," Maya began, voice steady, calm but assertive. "Today, I'll walk you through the Thompson project and the strategy we've prepared for the next quarter." Hawthorne leaned forward slightly. "Make it concise. Don't overwhelm them," he said, tone sharp, as if issuing a silent threat. Maya met his gaze for a heartbeat, then turned to the clients. "Absolutely. Clarity is our priority." Slide after slide, Maya presented data, methodology, and outcomes. Her expertise was undeniable. Questions came, sharp, challenging, but she answered each with confidence, precision, and professionalism. Then came the final slide. Bold text appeared, Maya Thompson, PhD, Organizational Leadership, Harvard University. The room froze. Whispers rippled. Clients leaned forward, eyebrows raised. Hawthorne's eyes widened, jaw tightening. For the first time, the confident mask faltered. "Wait," Hawthorne stammered, voice cracking. You have a PhD." "Yes," Maya said calmly. "I've also led multiple successful projects in similar industries. My role here is to ensure results are both accurate and actionable." The power dynamics shifted instantly. Colleagues exchanged glances, nodding subtly. The room was no longer his, it belonged to the truth. One executive leaned forward. "This is impressive. I appreciate your expertise and the thoroughness of your analysis." Hawthorne's fists clenched under the table. He opened his mouth, tried to regain control, but Maya anticipated his every move, addressing his attempted interruptions with calm authority. After the meeting, the office seemed different. The whispers, the sideways glances, the subtle nods of respect, all marked a change. Hawthorne avoided her gaze, rigid, restrained, visibly shaken. Maya returned to her desk, heart racing but steady. The adrenaline of confrontation gave way to a quiet triumph. Her work had spoken louder than bias, her preparation louder than intimidation. Jenna leaned over, whispering, "You did it. You really did it." Maya nodded, hands resting lightly on the desk. "It's not over yet," she murmured. "But this was the beginning." Later, Hawthorne stormed into the manager's office, his voice low but sharp. She revealed her credentials. Everyone saw. "This is unacceptable." The office manager shook their head slowly. Maya's work was thorough, her presentation professional. "The evidence is clear. We can't ignore it." Hawthorne's face reddened. He had misjudged her entirely. Every microaggression, every attempt at intimidation, exposed. The institution, once silent and complicit, now had the truth staring back at it. Maya exhaled, sinking slightly into her chair. The moment was sweet but bittersweet. Bias and intimidation had been challenged, but not erased. She knew vigilance was necessary. Microaggressions and authority abuse didn't vanish overnight. Cliffhanger, that evening, an anonymous note appeared on her desk. "Not everyone will be pleased with today. Be ready." Maya's eyes narrowed, heart steady. The next challenge loomed. Who was behind it, and what would happen next? HR office, mid-morning. The room is small, neutral, yet charged with tension. Hawthorne sits rigidly across from the HR manager, while Maya enters, composed but alert. "Have a seat, Maya," the HR manager says, voice calm, but eyes sharp. "We need to discuss recent events regarding Mr. Hawthorne and the Thompson project." Hawthorne's lips press tight. I don't see the issue," he mutters. "Let's hear your side first, Maya," the manager interrupts gently. Maya nods, opening her laptop. "I've documented everything, the microaggressions, the attempts to undermine me, and my full project work, including my credentials." She pauses, meeting Hawthorne's gaze steadily. "This isn't personal. It's about accountability and fairness." Hawthorne leans back, scoffing, but the HR manager's gaze pins him. "Mr. Hawthorne, multiple colleagues have corroborated the incidents. We also have recordings and meeting notes showing repeated intimidation and bias." "Bias?" Hawthorne snaps. "I was guiding her. She overstepped." Maya's expression remains calm. Overstepping implies incompetence, not truth. "My work, my credentials, my results, none of it oversteps policy or professionalism. They speak for themselves." The HR manager nods. "Mr. Hawthorne, these are serious allegations. Your conduct will be reviewed. Appropriate measures will follow based on our findings." Hawthorne's jaw tightens, eyes darting between Maya and HR. The room is silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. Each second stretches, tension mounting. A co-worker, present as a witness, leans in slightly. "He made threats, undermined her at every turn, and dismissed her work repeatedly," they say, voice low but firm. "We all noticed. It affected team morale." Hawthorne swallows hard, shifting uncomfortably. For the first time, his authority feels vulnerable. The institution he relied upon to maintain power is now holding him accountable. Maya takes a deep breath. This isn't about punishment. It's about setting a precedent. Intimidation and prejudice cannot dictate the work environment. Hawthorne opens his mouth, but the words falter. The evidence, the witnesses, the professional documentation, it leaves him no room to maneuver. The HR manager's expression is decisive. "Mr. Hawthorne, you will be placed under formal review. Until then, you are to have no direct supervisory interaction with Maya." Hawthorne's fists clench under the table. This is unfair." Maya leans back slightly, calm but firm. "Fairness isn't subjective. It's defined by actions and consequences." Outside the HR office, whispers ripple through the office floor. Employees glance at Maya with newfound respect. Hawthorne retreats, his presence diminished, every step heavy with frustration and humiliation. Jenna approaches quietly. "It's done, for now. You did it." Maya nods, voice low. "It's never just one moment. It's persistence, documentation, courage. We can't rely on apologies alone. We need structures that hold people accountable." Later that evening, as she packs her bag, Maya pauses by the office window. The city lights glimmer, reflections showing both the fatigue and the resilience in her eyes. The confrontation with institutional bias is ongoing, but this was a turning point. Cliffhanger, as she turns to leave, her phone buzzes. An unknown number flashes. This isn't over. They won't let it go. Maya's heart pounds, another wave of challenge approaches. But this time, she's ready. Office floor, mid-morning. The atmosphere is tense but shifting, colleagues whisper, yet there's a growing sense of respect toward Maya. HR has scheduled a formal meeting with leadership present. Hawthorne sits rigidly, attempting to maintain authority, but the weight of evidence and witnesses looms large. The HR manager begins. After reviewing the documented incidents, witness statements, and Maya Thompson's performance, we have reached a decision regarding Mr. Hawthorne's conduct. Hawthorne shifts uncomfortably. Maya meets his gaze calmly, hands folded on her lap. Her pulse races, but her exterior is composed, a calm storm. "Mr. Hawthorne," HR continues, "you will be formally reprimanded, removed from supervisory duties over Ms. Thompson, and placed under mandatory professional conduct training. Any further violations will result in termination." Hawthorne's face reddens, jaw tightens. "This is ridiculous," he mutters, voice faltering. Maya leans slightly forward. "It's accountability," she says softly, steady but firm. "Actions have consequences." One of the executives nods. "Maya, your work and composure have set a standard. You've not only excelled professionally but have exposed a systemic issue that needed addressing." The office air shifts. Whispers of admiration ripple through colleagues. The subtle hierarchy of intimidation has been dismantled. Hawthorne retreats silently, every step heavy with realization. His bias, underestimation, and intimidation have failed. After the meeting, Maya returns to her desk. The office hum feels different, lighter, yet still aware of the battles fought. Jenna leans over. "I knew you could do it," she whispers. Maya smiles faintly. "It wasn't about proving myself to him. It's about ensuring no one else faces the same treatment." Later, leadership calls Maya in. "We'd like to promote you to lead the next project," they say. "Your resilience, skill, and professionalism are exactly what this team needs." Maya nods, a mixture of relief, pride, and lingering exhaustion in her eyes. "Thank you. I'll continue to ensure the work is thorough and fair." Walking back to her desk, she notices the subtle changes. Colleagues nodding in acknowledgement, a few brave enough to share a smile, the quiet respect earned not through confrontation but through competence and courage. Evening descends, and Maya packs her bag. She glances at the office reflection in the glass, her posture strong, confident, but her eyes still carry traces of the emotional toll. Bias, intimidation, and microaggressions leave scars, even in victory. Cliffhanger our emotional beat. As she steps outside, a new intern enters the building, nervous, hesitant. Maya watches them pause, sensing the subtle fear in their eyes, the same fear she once felt. She smiles gently, ready to guide, ready to teach. Justice has been served, but the work of empowerment and change continues. Office floor, a few weeks after Hawthorne's formal reprimand. The atmosphere is calmer but carries the subtle weight of recent events. Maya walks past cubicles, nodding to colleagues. Some greet her with quiet smiles, others with hesitant respect. The office has shifted, bias and intimidation still linger, but the hierarchy has subtly changed. She sits at her desk, opening her laptop. Emails, reports, and documents await, but her mind drifts briefly to the tension-filled days prior. Every interaction with Hawthorne, every whispered remark, every silent stare, they left traces. Microaggressions may seem small, but their cumulative effect is heavy. Jenna leans over. "It's different now. People actually listen." Maya smiles faintly. "It's not just listening. It's understanding. Awareness has to precede change." Hawthorne remains on the floor, but his presence is diminished. He no longer interrupts meetings, no longer casts dismissive glances. Yet Maya knows that his bias and ego didn't disappear. They are merely subdued by accountability. During lunch, a coworker hesitantly approaches. "Maya, I just wanted to say thanks. For showing us that standing up is possible. For proving that competence and preparation matter." Maya nods. "It's a collective responsibility. Each of us can make the environment safer, fairer. But it requires courage." Later, she reviews her own documentation one last time. Every email, every recorded meeting, every detailed report. Proof not only of her expertise but of the systemic issues she navigated. She feels a quiet satisfaction. Evidence matters, preparation matters, resilience matters. Her phone buzzes. A message from HR. "We've initiated further training for leadership on bias and inclusion. Thanks for your input." Maya exhales slowly. Change, however gradual, is beginning. Evening descends. Maya looks out the office window at the city lights. Her reflection shows fatigue and resilience, the subtle marks left by weeks of navigating bias and intimidation. She has won this battle, but she carries the emotional cost, a reminder of the toll discrimination and abuse of authority take. Cliffhanger our emotional beat. A new email arrives from an unknown sender. "You've made waves. Be ready for what's next." Maya's heart beats faster. She knows that exposure and justice are never without consequences. The battle against systemic bias is ongoing, and vigilance is key. Office floor, a few months later. The atmosphere is calmer, more professional, yet retains subtle vigilance. Maya walks through the cubicles, observing a quiet transformation in the team. A new intern hesitates at the entrance, nervous eyes scanning the office. Maya approaches with a warm smile. "Hey, welcome. I'm Maya. Don't worry, everyone's adjusting." The intern exhales, relief flickering across their face. "Thank you. I've heard some stories about this place." Maya nods knowingly. "It's real. Bias exists. Intimidation exists. But so does resilience. I'll help you navigate it. You're not alone here." She guides them to their desk, subtle mentorship in every step. Her presence is firm, supportive, and reassuring, an unspoken lesson in courage and preparedness. Meanwhile, Hawthorne works in a separate department, under closer oversight. His demeanor is subdued, cautious. The office hierarchy has shifted. The subtle authority he once wielded through intimidation is gone. Accountability has rebalanced power, and the team feels safer, more empowered. Maya reflects on her journey, the microaggressions, the public humiliation, the documentation, the strategic exposure of truth. Each moment was a test of resilience, patience, and intellect. The emotional toll was real, but the outcome, justice tempered with responsibility, was worth it. Jenna leans over, whispering, "It's inspiring, what you've done. Not just for yourself, but for all of us." Maya smiles softly. It's not about heroism. It's about creating structures where fairness can thrive. Standing up isn't enough. You have to prepare, document, and teach others to do the same. Later, the office celebrates a successful project. Maya's expertise is acknowledged openly. Colleagues consult her, listen to her insights, and respect her authority. The work environment has subtly but irrevocably changed. Microaggressions still exist, but the system now holds those in power accountable. Evening descends. Maya looks out the window, city lights shimmering. She feels a quiet sense of accomplishment, tempered with the knowledge that systemic bias is persistent. Her journey continues, not just as a professional, but as a mentor, an advocate, and a symbol of resilience. Final emotional beat. As the intern approaches with a question, Maya kneels slightly to meet their gaze. Remember, preparation and integrity are your strongest tools. Don't let anyone undermine them. Maya smiles, a blend of pride, resolve, and gentle reassurance. The office hums softly around her, a new chapter for the team, a lasting legacy of courage, accountability, and justice.